Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope your day and your weekend are going well so far. We've got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. Got more NBA playoff action continuing tonight. We have 4 games in tonight's slate. But first, before we dive into today's video, make sure, guys, to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. We have tons of great content here on the channel. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, you know we did not do our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay because I didn't love the spot yesterday with only 3 games. Kind of tough to build a 5-leg parlay. You got to do all the same game parlay stuff. So we opted for today. We have 4 games, so we're doing our 5-leg. Usually it's our Freaky Friday. We'll call it like our Sexy Saturday. Sexy Saturday 5-leg parlay for today's slate. Quick recap of last night. We got brutally beaten yesterday. Like, bent us right over their lap and spanked us. Horrible day yesterday. Gave out 11 props. We cashed on 3 of them. So 3-8 record yesterday, really bad. One of the worst betting performances. Probably is the worst betting performance of my career thus far. And they weren't just losses; they were like brutal losses. Like Chris Middleton, I bet his under. I don't know if he watches the show and he took it personally that I took his under and I called him older and beat up. He scored 42 points on his own. That's not including the rebounds and assists. I took his under at 31.5 points, rebounds, assists. He had 42 points alone. I can't explain. Damian Lillard, he had 28 points and 7 assists with like 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And between the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter and then the 5 minutes of overtime, he did not get 3 points / assists. That's all we needed. We needed him to score 3 points / assists. He didn't get that number in the final 9 minutes of yesterday's game. I don't know if it was like a Space Jam thing, if Chris Middleton just like stole his powers, but like Chris Middleton turned into prime Damian Lillard in the final 10 minutes of that game. It was crazy. Some of the shots he was hitting, it was absolutely insane. He kind of looks like a monster, so maybe Chris Middleton did steal Dame's powers, but Dame in the last 10 minutes did like nothing, and Chris Middleton became like the clutchest player on the planet in the last 10 minutes. I mean, in hindsight, like betting on playoff P probably wasn't the best choice, but I thought he'd rise to the occasion. I was wrong. We had a couple of ejections that on basically 2 of the 11 props they got ejected. Now, granted, it was the fourth quarter. They both played enough minutes at that point. Even if Westbrook plays the rest of that game, he probably isn't cashing. PJ Washington probably would have cashed had he not got ejected, but it just across the board was just a rough day for us yesterday. But the great thing about life, if you're lucky, is that you get to wake up and have another day. And that's the beauty of this thing. That's the beauty of sports betting is that, you know, yeah, you can have an awful day the day before, but guess what? There's a new day today, and who knows what can happen today. So, yesterday's in the rear view mirror. Apologies to everybody for the bad picks yesterday. Like I said, I gave you the research. I gave you the data as to why I liked all those picks. Again, not a great performance, but by the way, if you guys hear some noises, we are power washing our house right now. So if you do hear some noises, I do apologize for that. But yeah, new day. We got 5-leg parlay. Let's make some money back here and bounce back after a rough Friday slate. All right, guys, let's click over to the Outlier screen now, guys. Outlier, best sports betting tool on the market. As always, they are the sponsor of my NBA player prop videos. There is a special link in the description below. Gives you a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Okay, so this first game, Cavs Magic, 1 p.m. tip-off. We got pretty badly beat the other day doing this, but I'm going to bet the exact same lines because the data is so great. Honestly, Mobley was going to hit. Garland probably would have hit if they played their normal minutes, but it was a 40-point blowout in the third quarter in that game. So they got pulled. Mobley didn't really play most of the second half. But first leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're going Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers over 15.5 points plus assists. We had this for minus 185 on DraftKings, minus 182 on FanDuel. And again, 6 of his last 10 games, he has cashed the over. He finished with 10 points and 1 assist against the Magic the other night. But again, he only played 22 minutes. Had he played his full time, I guarantee you he would have cashed this line. The season data is pretty good. You see here a 72% hit rate on the year for Mobley, 38 out of 53 games. He's averaging 18.72 points plus assists per game. And look at the head-to-head data. He had cashed this in 7 consecutive games versus Orlando, including Game 1 and Game 2 of this series before that brutal Game 3 loss for Cleveland. I don't think it's going to happen again. I think the Cavs bounce back in a big way in Game 4. I think Mobley gets right back on track. He's averaging 18.63 points plus assists per game versus the Magic. I think he gets back on track here tonight. All right, guys, second leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're sticking with Cavs Magic, so this will be a same-game parlay X. Again, it's very simple. I will put the outlier link in the description. I see a lot of people in the comments yesterday asking to like write the picks out or put them in the video. There will be a link. It's right there. It even says outlier link for the picks here. You click on it, and all the picks will be listed, and it's even easier. You click add to bet slip. It'll take you right to your sportsbook. I'll show you how to do it at the end of the video. Here's where we go. Second leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're going Darius Garland of the Cavs over 21.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. We're going to get from minus 215 on DraftKings, minus 245 on FanDuel. Again, I believe FanDuel, you can't do player combos on the parlays anyway, so this is a DraftKings exclusive here. And again, data solid. His last 10 games, he's averaging 24.2 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. On the year, a 73% hit rate for Garland, 44 out of 60 games, averaging 26.9 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. And the head-to-head data, again, same thing with Mobley. He had cashed this in 7 consecutive games versus Orlando. But then he had game 3, that horrific game 3, where he had 5 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. Like I said, guys, that game was brutal across the board for everybody in Cleveland. I don't think there's going to be the same case here in game 4. After getting their ass spanked, like kind of like how we did yesterday, you're going to get your ass spanked like that. If you're a good team, and I think the Cavs are a good team, they're going to bounce back and show out in game 4 tonight. You look at versus point guards again. We showed it this series. Orlando, they're about middle of the road versus point guards. Game of 24 points per game. They're pretty good in the other statistic categories, but as always, the points are going to carry this prop. Now, these 2 picks are at the 1 p.m. game. I'm going to try to get this video out as soon as I possibly can before 11 a.m., but in the event that you guys are watching this video and it's after 1 o'clock and the Cavs Magic game has already started, I will give you guys some alternate picks of some of the later games that I do like. That'll give you some options to throw in the parlay to make it back to a 5-leg parlay. I have a couple other props that I thought about throwing in, but I ultimately didn't choose them. I will give those alternate props for you guys in the event that you're watching this video and the Cavs Magic game has already started. So make sure to watch through the video. I'm not going to tell you when that's going to happen, but in the other games, I will show you guys some alternate picks here for the parlay in the event that this game has already started when you're watching the video. I know the video is coming out around 11 a.m., so you only have a couple hours to make the bet. All right, guys, third leg of our 5-leg parlay going to Thunder Pelicans, 3:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Chet Holmgren over 14.5 points. We're getting this for minus 185 on DraftKings, also available on FanDuel and on Caesars. And again, the data is also pretty strong here. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this over. In 2023 so far this year, a 67% hit rate, 56 out of 84 games he's cashed the over, averaging 16.64 points per game this season. And look at the head-to-head data here. All 5 times he has played the Pelicans this season, he has cashed the over. He's averaging 19.2 points per game versus the Pelicans this season. In both Game 1 and Game 2, he had a huge Game 2 versus New Orleans with 26 points. It's just a great matchup. You look at down low the defensive stats, the Pelicans, they are bottom 10 in points per allowed. 2 opposing centers give you up 19 points per game. So it's a solid defensive matchup for Chet. I expect the Thunder to continue to utilize that matchup and utilize Chet down low, especially with Zion continuing to be out. It feels like a great spot here for Chet Holmgren. All right, guys, the 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay, switching over to Celtics Heat, 6 p.m. tip-off. We're going Derek White over 10.5 points. We're getting this for minus 180 odds on DraftKings, minus 192 on FanDuel. Again, the data, they've been pretty good for all these props today. 7 of his last 10 games, he's averaging 14 points per game over his last 10 games. On the year so far, a 72% hit rate, 54 out of 75 games he has cashed this over. He's averaging 15.2 points per game this season, and most importantly, in the head-to-head matchup, this is the most important spot here. 13 of his last 16 games versus the Miami Heat, he has cashes over at 81% hit rate versus Miami. He's averaging 15.19 points per game versus the Heat, and he's already cashed this in Game 1 and Game 2 of this series. And in the playoffs, only 1 time in the last 2 years. Remember, they've met last year in 7 games, this year 2 so far. So in 9 playoff games over the last 2 seasons, 8 out of those 9 playoff games, he has cashed this over versus Miami. The only time he didn't was May 21st of last season. I believe that was Game 3 of that Celtics Heat series. He finished just below with 9 points. I told you guys I'd give you some an alternate idea in the event that the Cavs Magic game is already kicked off. This is one of the alternate props I would offer to you guys in the event you're trying to build the same game parlay and you want some more legs here. Jason Tatum over 7.5 rebounds. We're getting this line at 225 on DraftKings, minus 165 on FanDuel. Again, the data is fantastic on this. Is a good alternate prop in the event that you want to take some more from one game maybe than another. Jason Tatum 14 of his last 16 games versus Miami, he has cashed this over. He's averaging 9.88 rebounds per game versus Miami over the last 16 meetings. And again, same thing with Derek White. They've now met 9 times in the playoffs over the last 2 seasons, 9 playoff games. He's cashed the over in 8 out of 9. The only time he didn't was game 1 last season in the Eastern Conference Finals. He just missed it with 7 rebounds versus Miami. So this is a good alternate prop if the Cavs Magic game is already kicked off and you're looking for something to mix into the parlay. This Tatum over 7.5 rebound prop is a pretty good one. Also, one more alternate because, again, it's supposed to be a 5-leg parlay, and obviously we have 2 picks coming from that Magic Cavs game. In the event that Magic Cavs is tipped off and you can't use those picks, another alternate pick here, Kristaps Porzingis over 14.5 points. We get this for -175 on both DraftKings and on FanDuel. He had cashed this in the previous 4 meetings versus Miami this season and then had an awful game 2. We did bet his under that game, so we actually did predict that. But he had been covering it pretty consistently here. I think, again, kind of similar to what we talked about with the Cavs Magic here. The Celtics got embarrassed on their home court in game 2. I think they bring the heat to them in game 3. No pun intended there. And versus centers, Miami's been really good this year, but I think Porzingis will take advantage of the matchup. And again, on the season, this data, 81% hit rate. He's averaging 19.81 points per game this season. We just need him to score 15 points. I think Porzingis will be a little fired up here, so I do like the spot here for Kristaps if you're looking for an alternate line. The prop we're going with in the official parlay is the Derek White points prop. But in the event, again, one more time, in the event that the Magic Cavs game is already tipped off, this is a good alternate prop to throw in the parlay. All right, guys, our 5th and final leg of our official 5-leg parlay. We're going to Anthony Davis over 34.5 points plus rebounds. We're getting this for a high alternate, -280 odds here on DraftKings. 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed this over. You see here so far, all 3 games of this series, he has cashed the over. A 65% hit rate so far this year, 53 out of 81 games, Davis has cashed the over. And in the head-to-head data here, 9 out of 13 meetings with the Denver Nuggets this season, he's cashed, dating back to October of last season, he has cashed the over. A 69% hit rate versus Miami. He's averaging 37.08 points plus rebounds per game versus the Nuggets, again, dating back to October of last season. But you look at their 3 meetings so far in this series, game 1, 2, and 3, he has cashed this number with flying colors. It's do or die for the Lakers tonight. Personally, I think they're going to get swept. I think that they have nothing left to play for. You even see LeBron, typical LeBron move to be like, it's just basketball. It's just basketball. Like, that's why people ask me, why do I hate LeBron? Because all I do is, I bet on him and I do talk about him. I give him his flowers. He's a great player, but the reason why I've never liked LeBron is I'm not a huge fan of how his personality is off the court. I think he's a nice guy. I like him as a parent for the most part, although I think there's some things with how he's handled the Bronny situation that I think is really weird. I'm just not a huge LeBron guy. I don't like him so much. Some of the things he does, some of the things he says, I'm just not a huge fan of. Like, you just lost, you're down 0-3, and just like, it's just basketball. It's just basketball. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you're supposed to, this is why Jordan will always be the GOAT in my mind, because Jordan had that killer mentality of like, no, it's not just basketball, it's life or death, it's war out there. And LeBron just like, it's just basketball. So, but anyways, I think Anthony Davis, pretty good spot here. I know it's a 5-leg parlay, but I found so many alternate props that I really, really like today. I wish today's slate was yesterday's slate, where I decided to give out 11 straight props, because today's slate I like a lot better than yesterday's slate. I'm going to throw out this Michael Porter Jr. one to you guys because the head-to-head data is so good. Porter Jr. over 6.5 rebounds, -170. Again, the official parlay will be in the link. So you guys, I know it's a little bit confusing. I'm throwing you a bunch of extra picks at you guys, but the official 5-leg parlay that I'm rocking with will be in the outlier link. But I'm just giving you guys some additional props because I know we have some early start times for these games. By the time a lot of you watch this video, that game will have already started, and probably even the second game, the Thunder Pelicans game. So I'm giving you guys a ton of alternate options today for your parlays. And Michael Porter Jr., he's cashed this in each of the last 12 meetings with the Lakers. He's averaging 9.17 rebounds per game versus the Lakers. Overall, the data is good, 57% hit rate on the year, so it's not like it's just a Lakers thing. He does cover it for the most part. But versus the Lakers in particular, including all 3 games of the series, he has cashed this over. All right, guys, so there we go. Our 5-leg parlay to recap, because I know, again, I gave out quite a few other picks besides the parlay here. Our 5-leg parlay, we're going Chet Holmgren over 14.5 points, Derek White over 10.5 points, Anthony Davis over 34.5 points plus rebounds, and Evan Mobley over 15.5 points and plus assists, and Darius Garland over 21.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. All of these are available on FanDuel. Again, the parlays, how they work on FanDuel, I can't speak for them. But on DraftKings, what you'll do is you just click add to bet slip. You click continue in browser, or you scan the QR code, and it'll take you right to your sportsbook and do it all for you. So it's very easy when you use the Outlier link. Again, shout out to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. They really are fantastic. One more time, guys, there is a special link in the description below. Try it out. You get 7 days for free. You got nothing to lose there. But again, so there's your 5-leg parlay, and also I gave you 3 alternate props if you watched the video at the end there. But guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. Make sure hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. One more time, apologies for yesterday. Really bad day. Hopefully we get a nice bounce back spot with today's slate of picks. I will not be doing a video tomorrow. I typically don't on Sundays. I know it's playoffs. I know it's a bad time, but you know, I am Greek Orthodox religion, so Palm Sunday tomorrow I will be at church, and then I also am going to the Red Sox game with my girlfriend at night. So if you guys are at Fenway Park tomorrow night for Red Sox Cubs Sunday Night Baseball, give us a shout out. Love to hang out, maybe have a beer while we're at the stadium together. But that is it for me today, guys. I'll be back on Monday with a new NBA player prop video. Until then, I hope we're all winners.